I'm Bob Trask, and this is our weekly reset. Thank you for being with me. Today we're going to talk about handling fear. Handling fear. You know, when I was getting ready to come online with this and to speak to you, I noticed that I was a little nervous, and that's fear. And what I did, because I'm used to this by now, is that I converted that fear into energy. I got that fear behind me. I got that fear like the wind in my sails. And so let's go forward and see whether or not that worked. My question to you is fear of death, of tragedies, of climate change, of nuclear war, fears of abandonment, fear of pain, or whatever might be haunting us. Is that real? Is it real? We're born with only two fears. Did you know that? We're born with the fear of falling and the fear of loud noises. So if there's a little baby and you make a really loud noise, the little baby's going to jump and maybe cry. If you drop the baby and it falls, then probably the fear of falling, that's going to make the fear. But all the rest of those fears we learned. All those rest of those fears we accumulated over the years. We got them from outside sources. They weren't natural fears inside of us. And I have to tell you, you can get past your fears. And I can tell you how I know that. Yesterday, I was flipping through the channels and I saw, or not the channels, but on my computer, and I saw a woman standing on a little ledge on the outside of a bridge with a rope or something tied to her ankle, and she had her arms outstretched and she was getting ready to jump. And I thought, oh, are you kidding me? And she jumped. And she flew through the air and her arms were outstretched all the way down. She didn't get part way down and double up into a knot like I might have, but she was all the way down. And it was a long ways down. I'm not talking about she was 50 feet from the water. She was a hell of a long ways down, maybe 200 feet or something, it looked to me like. But she stayed open all the way down. Now, we were born with the fear of falling, and somehow she got past that fear. If she can get past that fear and turn it into fun, turn it into enjoyment, then how come you and I are still hanging around letting our fears stop us? All of these fears that were learned, we have the opportunity today to unlearn them. So what's truly haunting me? And are my fears real or are they just imaginary? Abraham Maslow, you remember him. He's the guy that did the hierarchy of needs. Just an incredible psychologist. And I quote him a lot because I really love the guy. Said, one can choose to go back into safety or forward towards growth. Growth must be chosen again and again, and fear must be overcome again and again. Thank you, Dr. Maslow. Did you know that fear is energy? I mean, the only reason fear comes to us is to impel us to do something that we didn't think that we could do, to go beyond. And why would we do that? Why would we want to do that? Why not just get in a secure, safe place with a nice, safe boundary around us and stay in that comfort zone? Why not? Why not? What's wrong with that? Because that's not why we came here. It's not why we're on this planet. We didn't incarnate out of the great, mysterious, powerful presence that is all universes and all time, out of that great electric energy, out of that great mind. We didn't incarnate out of that mind to hang around and wait to die. We came here to do, to be, to have, to do, to be, to have, to do, to be, to have. We came here to become more and more and more. And how do we know that that isn't going to be an awfulness? How do we know that that doesn't mean we're going to become a Hitler? How does it become? Because we're going to follow the loving, powerful energy inside of us. You have it. You have that. You have an urgency inside of you. You may have, this may have been a long time ago, you just kind of coated it over with your denial so that you don't feel it anymore. And you think, well, I'm just fine. I'll just have my cup of tea and play solitary bingo. That could be what you're doing, but that isn't who you are. We are all champions. You're a champion. You're a hero. You're a champion. In all of the history of the world, backwards and forward, there never has been and never will be another you. 108 billion of us so far on the planet, not one of them is you, except the one sitting there right now. You're the only you. And you came here to accomplish the becoming of yourself. Now, how does that work? I mean, like I talked about Great Spirit, Holy Spirit, the great powerful mind of the planets, of all planets and all universes and all time, and that great presence, that great natural intelligence that some people like to call God, that great natural powerful being, that creator, that we like to think that in fact we came out of that, and we don't have any real purpose here, but we have a purpose, and boy, it's going to blow your mind a little bit when I tell you what that is. Our purpose here is to, are you ready for this? To grow God. Our purpose is to grow God. Wait a minute, God doesn't need to grow. God is all. The Holy Spirit is all. It's the all of the universes and all times. But we are it. We are God. And every time we enjoy, that joy goes into God. Because that's who we are. We are like the fruit hanging on the tree, and everything that happens with us goes back into the tree. Everything that we feel, everything that we do, everything that we experience goes back. But you and I have an innate nature. I'm going to tell you what that is. We have a nature. We have an automatic, natural way of being. We have a platform. We have a state of being. We have a foundation upon which we sit. Do you know what that is? That's joy. And if I'm not in joy, I'm not in God. T.L.D. Chardin said the greatest evidence of God is joy. And it's our basic nature of who we are is joy. You know that. You look at little kids. Go to a nursery school and watch little kids play. They're totally in joy. They don't know yet that they can't be. They don't know yet that they're not supposed to be. Their father hasn't said, "What do you think? Shoes grow on trees? What do you think? What do you think? You don't have to do things. I don't like to go to work every day, but I have to." And we learn all that garbage, and it shuts us down inside. We go to school and we sit in little desks in little aisles and watch the teacher on the blackboard, and we learn to be disciplined, and we learn to shut down our joy and do what we need to do. You have to do this. How about we don't have to do anything? How about we only do what we want to do? Now, I don't mean we don't go to school, but how about we make school so that we want to go to school? Wouldn't that be cool? Wouldn't it be cool if school was so much fun, if learning was so much fun that we couldn't wait to get there every day? That could be if we just had the brains in this world to rework our educational system and make it play. Golly moly, kids could have a ball while they're learning. But then you have to hire teachers that don't go around like this. You'd have to hire joyful, happy teachers that love kids that are just trying to figure out a way to make them joyful. And incidentally, my daughter's kindergarten teacher was exactly that. Exactly that. God bless her. So this paralyzing emotion of fear that keeps us from ever reaching our full potential That's the opposite of joy. That fear is the opposite of joy. See, it's just energy. Everything in the world is energy. Isn't that true? Everything's a vibration. Everything's a frequency. And that frequency, that vibration inside of us is that we think stops us from doing something. If we could just shift it over to joy, it would be, oh my God, I get to do this. The lady jumping off the bridge going, all right, I get to jump off the bridge with this thing tied to my foot, and I'm going to fall 200 feet, and I'm going to stop just as my head starts to touch the water. Won't that be fun? But you and I won't do that because, oh no, I can't do that. Why? Because we haven't yet moved through that fear. And we can move through any fear, any fear. And I don't mean gut it out and go through it and I hate this, I hate this. No, that's not getting through your fear. It's just wallowing in it. I'm talking about getting through my fear. While it's scary to embrace the unknown, that's where our greatest potential for growth lives. That's where we can expand ourselves, expand our consciousness. Our consciousness, you know that word, consciousness? We hear that word a lot, but most people don't really come down to the real knowledge of what consciousness is. Consciousness is who you are. It's not what you think or what you do or how you act. It's who you are. It's who you are. And a lot of us, maybe most of us, I guess it's true, most of us have this limitation in our consciousness because we have these fears, we have these recriminations, and we have these doubts, and we have these regrets, and we have these resentments, and we have these fears, and we have this garbage going on inside of us that tells us that we're not saints, that we're not heroes, that we're not champions, that we're not who we came here to be. All of that stuff is, we learned all of that junk. When we were 3 years old, we didn't have any of that stuff. When we were learning to walk, we got our little diaper butts up and we took 2 steps and we fell. And we took a step and we fell into a two. And I can't remember what it's like, but babies fall like 17 times a minute or something like that. Fall constantly on your butt, constantly failing, constantly. Does a little baby say, well, I just can't do this anymore. I can't afford to fail another time. It's just too disgraceful. Come on. Come on. Babies don't have that. They don't have that stuff going on. And you don't have that stuff going on, and neither do I. But we have to be willing to get past the junk that we lived, that we learned, and get back to being who we are. And my job on this planet, my job, me, Bob Trask, is to make people's lives, or help make people's lives more bountiful in every area. My job is to help make people's lives more bountiful in every aspect of their lives, every aspect. And that includes money, but also bounty includes health, relationships, and creativity. And the only thing that stops any of us from being expansive in all of that is fear. And that's the fear that's the opposite of joy. And we can call it other things. We can say it's anxiety, or it's uncertainty, or it's doubt, or it's feelings of unworthiness or insecurity or inability. We can call it all that stuff, but it's just all of it. It's all just doubt. It's all fear. And when we were learning to walk, and what could be harder than learning to walk? You were born, you were lying down, you've been lying down your whole life, and all of a sudden you're on your feet trying to walk. Ooh, holy smokes. I mean, that's a big step. If we had to take that same step as adults, we couldn't do it. I don't think we could do it. Our fears would be too great. We say, oh, I don't think I can do that. And I'm going to look like a fool in front of everybody. I'm not going to be, I'm going to. Many times our fears are misplaced fears. For example, we can think back about something that we were really afraid of, and then when it finally happened, it was no big deal. It was no big deal. our fears were, oh my God, but when we got there, it was no big deal. And sometimes those are anticipatory fears, aren't they? Oh God, I don't know if I can do this. I will. Oh. Sometimes it's great things. Sometimes you're going to take a plane flight to someplace really wonderful and see good friends and play and have a vacation. It's going to be great. But a week before that, you're going, oh my God, I was and you start packing 2 weeks ahead of time. I don't know if I can put this in, take this out. Oh, I don't think I'll need this. Oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to. And you get, and well, you know what? You get there and it's just great. What was all the fear about? Can we just move past that? Fear of death is a good example too. People who've died and come back say, hey, get over your fear of death. It's not only no big deal, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. I went to beautiful places. I saw beautiful things. Come on. I'm not afraid of death now. Bring it on. When it's time, I'm stepping through there. All that happens is that we lose our egos. That's all that happens. Oh, we lose our bodies, but our bodies aren't real anyway. What? Our bodies aren't real? How dare you say that? Look, our bodies are made of subatomic particles, right? Our cells are made of atoms. Our atoms are made of subatomic particles. Subatomic particles have no mass. They are just have a tendency to be. They're always flowing and moving through you. In fact, right now, moving through you probably is an electron that was in Jesus's body. Right now, you're part of Jesus. These bodies don't matter. Try to take good care of them because they're the vehicles that'll carry us through this life. But when we lose them, they just go back into the universe. And we can't die. You can't kill consciousness. That's who you are. People who've died and come back say that fear is greatly misplaced. Robin Sharma, great thinker, said, the beautiful thing about fear is when you run to it, it runs away. Okay, now let's look at this. What do we want in life? And what's keeping us from getting it? Now, when I say what do you want in life, I'm talking about something pretty special. I'm pretty divine, pretty sacred, your desires. Because, we all have lusts. And, I want another ice cream cone, or that. But we have inside of us as beings, we came here to fulfill the becoming in each of us. In all of history are unique and different. So when I came here with my need to fulfill something inside of me, no one else has that. Oh, they may have the same kind of direction, like they want to be an architect and I want to be an architect. But I'm not interested in being an architect. I'm interested in designing something that's inside of me. I want to bring that out and create it and fulfill it. Or a doctor or whatever. I want to make that happen. I want to bring that dream out and make it come true. So that's what I want. So what's stopping me? Fear. Fear keeps me from taking the necessary steps and going through the necessary risks and wins that'll make my dreams come true. Because in order for me to go through my fear, I have to take a risk. I have to take a risk. Don't be afraid of that word, because risk, when it's combined with trust, in the old days they called it faith, same thing. When my risk is combined with trust, I've got a winning team. I'll make it every time. I'll make it every time. But you got to trust. Trust what? Trust the universe. You are nature. You're a flower. You're a tree. You're a deer. You're the eagle. You're the surf rolling up on the beach. You're the granite cliffs. You're all of that. You're all of that. Somebody said to me one day, we were talking about reincarnation. He said, I'd like to come back as a tree. And I said, you already have. You already are a tree. You're everything. We're everything. So When we can't be afraid of taking a risk, because the risks are the steps beyond our comfort zone, beyond our limitations, into our joy on a greater level, on our joy on a greater level, so that it can expand. Our joy can expand not only in us, but as us. But we can never get there if we don't take risks. Oh, we might be comfortable with our little cup of tea and our little bingo game, and we might be able to sit in our little tiny place and just take care and make sure you don't make a mistake anywhere. We can do that. That isn't life. That is not life. Life is life is moving. Life is challenging ourselves. Our fear of failing is a result of a mindset that says failure is fatal. And successful people don't fail. And so I can't fail, because if I fail, I'm going to look like a fool. If I paint this picture and it doesn't come out, oh God, I'm going to look like an idiot. If I start this business and it collapses, oh my God, everybody will say, oh, he couldn't do it. If I try to sing a song and I have a flat note in there, everybody will say, God, can you sing on key or what? Failure isn't fatal if you have the right mindset. We have this feeling that successful people don't fail. But the facts are that every true success and every true successful person sits on a mountain of failures. Thomas Edison, who failed daily for months and months in his attempts to make a light bulb burn, said, I have not failed. I've just found 100, or I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. I haven't failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. He also said, many of life's failures are people who did not realize how close they were to success when they quit, when they gave up. And focusing on the work we have today, before us today, he told us, be courageous, have faith, trust, go forward. Think with me for a second. Every person who's ever existed had genius in them. That's not my idea. It's well known. The world is full of geniuses. You're a genius. Now, you might have a problem with me saying that you're a genius, so let me quote a dictionary definition that I like. Genius is a strong natural, there's that word nature, is a strong natural talent, an aptitude, or an inclination. And following that definition, then I ask, do you feel that you have a natural talent? And before you answer that, let me remind you that of the 108 billion people who've ever lived on this planet, you alone are you. You obviously have natural talent. Just the way you walk is unique and different. No one else walks it. Of 108 billion people, no one walks like that. No one looks like you. No one has your fingerprint or your face. No one has your expression. No one has your voice print. No one is you. What you do is the only way anyone can ever be is you doing that. That's unique. That's genius. And if you decide to paint a picture, sculpt, don't do that if that isn't inside of you. You're called. The desire inside of you is calling you to do something. Follow that desire. Dare to step outside of your fear and follow that desire, that urgency. I don't care whether it's making a cake or making brownies or running a marathon or painting a picture or swimming the English Channel. I don't care what it is. Something inside of you is calling out to be fulfilled. And that's the fulfillment of your eternal self. You must go forward. Obviously, you have natural talent. All those are expressions of unique talent. You have a unique natural aptitude, a natural inclination to be and do. Maybe you haven't developed your full genius yet, But believe me, you have it. And if you haven't developed it yet, I'll bet it's been held inside of you and not expressed because of what? Because of fear. We're bigger than our fears. Come on. So today, let's get fear out of the way so you and I can live the lives that we want, the joyful lives we want. Lewis Howes said, you can either keep your greatness hidden under a pile of fears, regrets, and excuses, or you can let it out. Or you can let it out. Now, I've also already said that fear accompanies our desires to do something, to make something great, to make something better. For example, you may have thought long and hard about writing a book, but your fear of not doing a good job or being judged or even of the hard work that it will entail stops you before you start. Well, just imagine with me that that fear has a purpose, and that purpose is to awaken a wisdom inside of you, to awaken the channels of creativity inside of you. That's what that fear is for, is to awaken those inside of you so that they'll flow as you begin to write your book. But there are three things that keep us from moving forward. One, we don't see ourselves as able, so we have no confidence. You can't create confidence if you don't do it. You have to do it in order to create confidence. You don't get confidence from wishing. So we don't see ourselves as able to do it because we have no confidence. Second, going for our dream just seems too enormous for poor little me to write a book. Oh my goodness. I'm not asking you to write a book. Write a paragraph, write a sentence, and then the next one, and then the next one. And soon it'll be a book. Just go forward. And then the third one is we're afraid that if we do, we might fail and then it will look foolish. Oh, he wrote this stupid book. He can't even put a sentence together. Oh my God. You know what? He wrote a book. He's opening the flow of genius into the world. He wrote a book. His next book will be better. His next book will be better. His next book will be better. He's got the courage to do that. Okay, I'm an author. And when I start a book, I know these three fears. I don't see myself as able to have to write this book. And secondly, going for my dream, going for this book that I have in mind just seems like too enormous an undertaking. And then if I do it, I might fail and look foolish. But I'm not quite where a beginning author is because I've written a bunch of books. So yeah, I still have those things, but I don't have them as much as anybody else. And one of the reasons is because I have a safety strap I hang on when the fear comes. And that safety strap I'm going to give to you right now. So when you get those three things going on, here's what you do. You get this safety strap. It's a quote from W.H. Murray, William Murray, Bill Murray, famous mountain climber, incredible guy, risk taker, said this. And this is so worth having in your life and printed up on your wall. Until one is committed, there is hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness. Concerning all acts of initiative and creation, there's one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. The moment one definitely commits himself, herself, then providence moves too. The minute one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance which no man could have dreamt would have come his way. Mr. Murray said, I have learned a deep respect for one of Goethe's couplets. Whatever you can do, or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. So finally, I want to leave you with this. Here's the way we go forward. 3 steps. Visualize your results. Don't visualize the task. Visualize the feelings having accomplished the task. Visualize that. Hold that in mind. And then secondly, affirm it all day, every day. Affirm it. I see myself in this wonderful place of having published a book. I see myself in the 4th chapter of my book, flying now, feeling great about what I'm doing. I see myself tasting this cake that I made from my own recipe and finding it's delicious, and I'm so filled with thrills, and I'm writing that recipe down and selling it. I see myself sailing my boat across the ocean, and I feel the wind in my. To see yourself, visualize your results, visualize yourself being there, and then affirm that vision every day. I am feeling that. I am being there. I see myself in that place. I feel myself in that place. I'm affirming that, affirming that, affirming that. That's how we change our subconscious mind so that it begins to support us rather than sabotage us. And then finally, daily bathe yourself in gratitude. Why gratitude? Why gratitude? Because if I see all the things in my life that I'm grateful for, then I say, this is who I am. I've accomplished this. I've done this. I have these friends. I see this joy. I see this beauty. I'm aware of this. This is who I am. And that gratitude opens up the channels of joy into you, so that fear is converted into joy and you rise up above all of your fears. Let's go forward. Enjoy. Let's make life work. Let's do that. Thank you for being with me. Thank you. Go to bobtrask.com and leave a donation so I can continue this work, please. Thank you for being with me. Thank you. And I'll see you next week.